Hey there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John, Transformers Armada, the premiere movie. Toonami debut August 23rd, 2002. This is not a movie. This is the first three episodes of Transformers Armada. First encounter, Metamorphosis and Base, with just the previously ons and the intros and outros removed.
Yeah.
Alyx?
Oh, why did I pick this? I don't know if anybody knows this about me. I feel like I hold it very secret to my heart. I really like Transformers, you guys. I really like Transformers. I haven't watched Armada in an extremely long time. It has been a very, very long time since I watched Armada, and I saw that, the premiere movie, and it's like, well, it's just the first three episodes, so let's do it. I forgot how rough the dub is, but there's a lot of production stuff going on here. So, John, I know you did your research. I know this off the top of my head. Shall we find the middle ground of how rough this production was?
Why don't you start? Because it's a long and complicated story, and I'll dive in if I have anything interesting.
I'm gonna give like the cliff notes here. So, Transformers Armada was the first like Japanese and American like bridge project for the Transformers universe, and it was rushed. It was incredibly rushed through production, through dubbing, through everything, to the point where the American audience got Armada before the 6 months before the Japanese audience got it. So there are issues with the script translations. There are issues like as you get further into the show where characters are referred to interchangeably by their Japanese and English names. Like at one point, a different character's voice comes out of Cyclonus. Like it is the kind of production that is rough. Armada is mainly remembered for how it ends because it is part of something that's called been since dubbed the Unicron trilogy. It is a bigger project. Armada in particular is remembered the most fondly of those three, and that is mainly because of a lot of very interesting stuff they do with the story much later on, and that all really comes down to Starscream and how they play with his character. But John, you can give the other details
So
too.
the other thing about that is one reason they blame for this rush production is that Cartoon Network had a rule is that they would only go ahead if they had so many episodes already in the can. Basically, they wanted to avoid what Muppet Baby situation of we're going to schedule you, advertise you, then you're going to run out of episodes on us. So that is what they blamed for this rush production schedule. So yeah, there are animation errors all over the place, just bits of the script that don't make any sense. Even the dubbing, it's this whole thing is just very scrappy. You see that a lot in here. There's a lot of animation errors. You'll note that the Japanese did fix some of these. If you watch the episodes in Japan, some scenes are totally redrawn because they are so bad they couldn't do anything about them. They just redrew the whole thing.
Though it is fun for those of you who have been with us through Beast Wars, we see Optimus Prime and Megatron retaining their Beast Wars voices because I think it's the exact same dub cast.
Pretty much. Fun fact: the Beast Wars team, when they announced Armada, they said that it was Mainframe. Like the announcement was, "Oh, Mainframe been tapped up to a new series, Transformers Armada." No one knows if Mainframe were involved and pulled out, or if that was just nonsense. But they did announce that it was Mainframe. I couldn't find anyone from Mainframe agreeing with that, so I do think the team were just like, yeah, Mainframe are doing it again, because that Beast Wars sold well, right? And they just hadn't asked them.
Yeah.
So,
Have you been traumatized?
should we get into the story of this?
Yes,
So
mini
the
cons.
mini cons, yes, they're like Transformers, but smaller and cheaper. And easier to animate. Basically, yeah, there's a third race now on Cybertron. They are the Minicons. They are tiny little robots who are built as like sentient tools. If you stick one to yourself, you grow stronger. Basically, they have a big war for them. That's why we have a war on Cybertron. And eventually, we Beast Wars them. We send them through space where they crash on the moon Earth. Some weird little children wake them up. And hey, now Megatron's here because he wants all of the Minicons. And the production issues become apparent immediately because the American version of this film starts with a long, boring nonsense about, oh, the Minicons were built And they say, oh, so the Decepticons and the Autobots teamed up to build the Minicons a ship to get rid of them. Like, they were like the Tribbles, they could shove them from into space. And they show footage of this. And you'll realise in that footage, well, the Decepticons are opening fire on the Minicon ship. Yeah, because the whole thing about there being a truce and they both wanted rid of the Minicons is nonsense. In Japan, it's the Autobots help them escape. And in that segment, they are holding off the Decepticons long enough for them to jump into warp. So it's like, even from the very first moment, they're not entirely sure what the story is here. It's like,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's very clear that like the script was not translated correctly. Like at all, it was not translated correctly.
there are some translation errors in this that actually ruin your enjoyment of the entire thing. My big thing is that it's in the middle of episode 2. So the Decepticons, they take the crashed Minicon ship on the moon. They find it and say, okay, that's going to be our new base. And a big point of this is the Autobots do not know where the Decepticons are, except the American dubs, when they tell up how after a battle, have Hotshot look up in the sky and go, they're up there, cut to the moon. Implying that the Autobots know full well where the Decepticons are and are just not doing anything about it.
But they like fist bumping. That's their favorite thing.
They've discovered fist bumping. Yes, that is the
That is the big
Oh,
humanizing moment towards the end of this 3-part thing.
So as everybody in the audience is aware, I've systematically been dismantling Sam's sanity with Transformers content. So Sam, I'm curious to hear about your watching experience.
So, for full disclosure, like G1, when I say G1, I'm aware that Beast Wars takes place in the G1 universe. We've already had that. And you know, primarily I like the movie, you know, with Orson Welles as Unicron, and hey, look, there's like Leonard Nimoy, I guess. Yeah, this one's odd, right? It's like it's very much of its era, which is something I think we say a lot on this show. Because it's like who got Transformers in my Pokemon? Who got Transformers in my kind of like it has that kind of animation style. The voice acting is of for kids level, however you want to take that for this dub. At least when it comes to the human characters. And one of the Decepticons looks like a giant beetle.
Megatron? You mean Megatron?
Megatron has horns now. He's become a deer, and he can fire beams from those to annoy Minicons with.
Yeah. The
It's
Minicon
actually
aspect is an interesting MacGuffin, right? Because there's always some sort of MacGuffin when it comes to it. Could be the Allspark, it could be just raw Energon. This time around, yeah,
Vector.
it's Minicons. Is the Alex, this Minicons are original to Armada?
So it's a little more complicated than that.
Mhm.
Minicons, from what I understand, are basically kind of a way to take Soundwave's cassettes and Blaster's cassettes and kind of make them more relevant to 2002, where cassettes really weren't a thing anymore.
Mm.
There were always smaller Transformers, but they didn't really, but only this, like, they came to be known as symbiotes, were really like attached to, and combiners become more of a thing later too. But yeah, no, this is very original for Armada. There's a lot of original stuff for Armada. Armada, interestingly enough, is what brings back the concept of Primus into the Transformers canon, which is actually pretty interesting. Armada has a very weird history in the Transformers fandom. You will find people who swear by it, who love it, who say it's like their favorite Transformers media, and then you will find people who are like, no, not at all. The Unicron trilogy is actually extremely interesting because it does have some very interesting ideas, and it is extremely different from the rest of Transformers media. It is more willing later on to play with things that are sacrosanct in Transformers than a lot of other Transformers media is. So I can give it credit for that. I forgot how much nothing happens in these 3 episodes. Like, there's nothing going on.
The movie format really hurts this film because we start with that big long spiel about the Minicons, then we meet 3 children who are boring, and then they find the minicons and learn about the minicons. I don't get why we had to have the narration. This would have worked so much better if we started with the kids, they meet the robots, and we learn with them. Because no offense, Transformers lore isn't that complicated. You could show it rather than, you don't need a narration. This isn't Shakespeare. You could have just had Optimus be like, look, I'm an Autobot. This is our home planet, Cybertron. Megatron, you can tell that he's green and cackling constantly is a bit evil. We're going to give him a kicking. Good. But the fact we kind of stop that, we drop that, we do that whole thing, okay, then we learn about it again. Then episode 3, the final bit, has the kid explain the minicons he found to Optimus. So it basically means we see the first bit again while he explains it. And then he explains events that Optimus was present for to Optimus. Like, oh, then a robot came and saved us. Yes, that was the robot you're currently talking to. I know he's a bit stupid, but he's not that stupid.
It's very interesting because we're not watching Armada, but because I like you guys.
We'll run out eventually, and then we'll have no choice.
Yeah.
We'll have no choice but to watch all of Armada. But the thing that people remember Armada for is Starscream's storyline, because that is the biggest difference. Is Starscream actually gets a very interesting, like, will he, won't he leave the Autobots, and he ends up being like the catalyst that, like, leave the Decepticons, and he ends up being the catalyst that, like, kind of saves the universe. He actually has a full, spoilers for a 30-year-old show, he actually has a full heel face turn as we go through this series, and his I can't remember the girl's name because God, it's
Alexis.
Alexis and Starscream actually are like, have a very close bond that's actually very interesting as the show continues on. But if that is the thing that people remember Armada for.
Besties.
I will say, I do think Starscream in many iterations of Transformers is arguably the most fascinating of the Decepticons. Like, Starscream always gets something very interesting to do. And that's kind of the case here, that at least the glimpse that we get of the Decepticons kind of stewing in their base, and Megatron yelling at everybody to stay in line as he is wont to do
with his son.
With his son,
yeah, yes. What do we think of the? I mean, obviously Optimus Prime is Optimus Prime. What do we think of our other Autobot designs, including like Cyclops Man?
I found out Hotshot was a thing and not Bumblebee, as I presumed he was for a good 2/3 of this movie. I know one Transformer, and it's Bumblebee. Yeah, the cop guy looks weird. I don't know what it is about the cop's design in sort of robot mode. Just throws me as like weirdly monkey-esque.
I'm going to throw this out here, and I don't know how it's going to come off, but I feel like the design sensibility for the Autobots and the Decepticon here are very Japanese. And what I mean by that is they kind of remind me of Beetleborgs. Like, there's something very distinct about the differences between like Western animation when you're making a giant robot, and Eastern animation when you're making a giant robot. And when you look at this, beyond just like the normal anime tropes, like these are Japanese robots, right?
I mean,
something as boxy as Soundwave is not going to come out of the same kind of studio.
Optimus is super form, which I don't fully understand, because I'll get to the thing, but it is very clearly like sort of the Samurai Emperor. Looks like what the Dom brothers would have had by the end.
They look like Gundams.
They do. His whole transformation sequence is just Voltron, which is really interesting. There's something, I don't know what it is. There definitely is. It's like it feels like someone's redrawing it all. Like there was like a really good Gundam artist drawing all this, then someone was coming in, tracing over their frames and ruining it slightly. Because I think it's the colors. The colors don't have that kind of homogeneousness that the Gundam colors do.
Yeah. And part of that is that the Transformers, especially in G1, had like crazy color schemes, like absolutely but those bonkers color schemes worked in the 80s because for like Cards on the Table, a lot of their designs were, not only were they recolors of the same designs over and over again, like when you look at the Command Trine and all that, but they were much boxier and simpler shapes. And this, I feel like with Armada, because I don't remember if the toys did very well. I actually don't have any Armada toys. I remember that they were well constructed, but I don't know if they did really well in terms of selling. Um, they're not, they don't have that like cohesiveness of appearance that a lot of other Transformers media tends to have. And I think that that's like, again, the Beetleborg, big bad Beetleborgs thing is wild. It's crazy. It's a very weird design sensibility for Transformers.
I do kind of wonder if it's deliberate, because one thing I did like about this is when they, well, in the first and last fight, there is a middle fight which is one of the worst animated things I've seen in my life, and we've just been watching Space Ghost.
And Justice League.
It has a real tokusatsu thing, because they do move like guys in suits, like you would see in a Sentai thing, and they even. What really made me really happy is they do the over-raised armed grapple thing, which is Showa Godzilla, like that, and then it ends when we do the big push into the thing, which is really cool when it's two guys in actual suits and there's weight and there's things for them to smash, and you have someone screaming attack names. When it's just Optimus and Megatron having a little hug, while Alexis is there like, I think that might be Megatron. It's less fun, but it was like, oh. So it does feel like there's definitely sort of like a more sort of kaiju-y thing going on with them when they can remember how tall they are, which is a recurring problem in this show.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite moments in the to go back to the fist bump. I'm just grasping. I'm just trying to find
grasping that fist.
Yeah, is when the stout Autobot watches them all fist bump, which is the most awkward fist bump, by the way, because they're like, we're the Three Musketeers, and they bump each other, and then they all bump together. And it's just kind of like, and then he goes for like his massive fist. I was like, oh, that's good. That's good. And then they just repeatedly, I like this Earth custom, bam, bam, bam.
That scene is made even funnier by the fact that that scene is butchered in the American dub.
It's so bad.
One of the big things, so in Japan, they're from the very beginning. The second these kids touch their minicons, they can understand them. They can talk binary, as they call it. This is because minicons have souls and they work on the same soul frequency. Normal computer stuff. Except America can't quite decide if that's true or not, so they keep going back and forth on it. And in the point in that fist bump scene is they're having this talk about, what they're like, oh, well, we would like to join the Autobots and fight alongside you. In America, it's Optimus going, well, that's stupid, you're tiny and small. In Japan, they're having this logical conversation of, the minicon goes, boo, 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 and Optimus is like, oh, well, I can't understand him. You can, so we have to keep you around because you're the only people who can speak minicon, because we can't. How we built a ship for these guys we can't understand. Good question. We're never going to touch that. Shut up. So, but obviously in America, it's like, well, we don't have to dub that bit. We could just not dub it at all and just have a really long silence and then have the kids start fist bumping. No one will notice.
That's the weirdest part about this dub is the rhythm of it. There are so many weird, crazy silences, and then you get like weird cut-in gags from other characters. It's kind of like when we were watching Duel Masters. In a weird way, it kind of makes me think of that. But it's not a gag dub. This is not a gag. This is 100% for so super serious, you guys.
It is a joke, and the joke is on us. I mean, I think a great example of that is that sort of a thing we have in Base, the third episode, is the Autobots show them a ship. Then later on, we go back to the ship, and the kids are still going, "Wow, it's like being in a spaceship." And you're like, "Wait, haven't they already been in here? This is where the last scene was." Yeah, because that isn't the Autobots' base. Much like the Decepticons on the moon, the Autobots take the crashed ship of the Minicons. So that first scene is them exploring it, going, we can make this into a base. Then they turn it on, and the second scene is them going, wow, it's all working. This is like when it was in the cave. But Americans were just like, the kids won't notice if we have them say, wow, this is like a spaceship twice, will they? American children are stupid.
Yeah. I'm like we all know this. I'm a huge Transformers fan. I like Armada in that way that I have watched Armada before and I know what it builds to. And I think that there's a lot of very good story beats later on. And it is much better in Japanese. 100,000%. If you're going to watch it in Japanese. But I do struggle to think in an era where, we're post Beast Wars, Beast Machines did not do very well in general, which was the follow up to Beast Wars for like the next round of like this is a new Transformers continuity, this is a new thing, we're doing this. I don't know how this would get young audiences into it very much. And honestly, giant robot content should be a slam dunk for a Japanese studio, but the rushed edges are crazy.
Actually, Alex, can you explain something to me? So Optimus has a battle form here where he can merge with his trailer to become an even bigger
Yes.
robot. Is that ever explained?
No.
Okay. Because that's
It
what
is
really caught me about this, is that we have sort of like the little mini cons they attach to you, and Megatron, it just makes his let's be fair, it's a cannon on the side of his hip that means it does look like his genitalia. He is compensating. Just makes that pop out so he can fire it and knock himself over. The other guy just gets a little laser gun. Hotshot gets like a little like rotor on his head. And we're pretending that all these will boost your power and make you immense. But Optimus just can join with his trailer, which he just does. It's like, well, that looks infinitely stronger than Megatron's getting a little willy gun.
Well, the trailer, like Optimus's trailer is one of those weird things in all Transformers continuities. Whenever he has the trailer, like I don't know if you ever noticed this watching G1. When Optimus transforms, the trailer comes out of nowhere and then leaves. Like the trailer. Yeah, if it go back to the original Transformers cartoon and look at any transformation sequence with Optimus Prime, and the trailer will just like scoot into frame, and then when he goes back, it scoots away. Like the trailer is something that they've always kind of struggled with to a certain, like at one point it was sentient in the comics, at another point it wasn't. Like there's been a lot of weird stuff around the trailer for a long time. At least here they like utilized it. In Transformers Prime, they didn't even bother with it unless they had to hook a trailer to Optimus. So
it's just the thing that gets like this big, like proper Gatai sequence of all the pieces coming in, and it's really cool. But the problem is, it makes the Minicon transformations look awful. It's like, why are you introducing a better robot? Like, again, this goes back to me for being a fan of that kind of Super Sentai. When you bring a new mech in, it's usually the transformation's this big deal, and we build up to it. Here, the Minicon transformation is just over and done with, and they don't really do anything. And we also like, oh, by the way, Optimus can do this thing. It makes the Minicons look stupid. Okay, why do I care about the Minicons again? Why is Optimus Prime the bigger Transformer not eating the rest of them?
Why is Optimus the biggest Cybertronian not simply eating the smaller one? Because he doesn't have a mouth.
Oh, true. You can ride in him, though. Which
you can ride in him, which is horrifying. I've always found it horrifying in Transformers media when there's like a human inside of them. And I think Robot Chicken did a thing where like one of them was in them and they transformed and then they were like crushed and the blood is like leaking out of them.
Yeah, so did Clerks, the animated series. That was a whole thing.
I feel like
that's in Optimus Prime's skull, children.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what part, like if you think about it corollary to like the build, because the truck part is like his chest, so you're like inside of his heart. You're always an Optimus.
You're his Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah,
you're his Jiminy Cricket.
Oh, it just makes me sad that they weren't driving him. Because I thought that would be kind of cool, but no, we don't really do anything. He just drives himself. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. He is also stick shift, which you pointed out before.
That annoyed me. He has a gear stick. He's not an Autobot. He's a manual bot.
Got the stick shift, baby.
Yeah.
That's how bored I was at this point. I have about 2 paragraphs of notes that are just me complaining that he should not have a gear stick. He has a clutch. I want Megatron to win.
He does have a clutch.
One of the things that kills me on this, gear shifts aside, is our human characters, and it's probably down to translation issues again. None of them do it for me. Not even the ones that they call annoying are especially annoying. The ones that it's just not that I necessarily tune into a Transformers show for human characters, but buddy, I'm not doing it here.
No one does. Transformers characters, Transformers human characters universally tend to kind of suck. Like that, like even in the original 1980s cartoon, Spike Witwicky sucks. Like the only human character I really like was the one kid who showed up with tracks like twice. Raul is great, but he's only in 2 episodes, you know? Like the human kids in Transformers Prime start getting a lot less focus after the first season. Like Transformers Animated, the human characters kind of suck. And then there's the kissing Transformers manga where you don't want to talk about the human characters in that. I don't know if you guys know about Transformers Kiss. I don't want to be the ones to make you Google it, but it exists.
Kiss, get an oil change.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy. Honestly, it's about they have to kiss the small. This is how bored we are with Armada. The small girls need to kiss the giant robots to help them get their full superpowers. It's crazy. It's a wild thing that exists. Japan was not ready for Transformers.
Don't think that will stand up in court as an excuse.
Won't stand up. Well, that's nope. I'm keeping that joke to myself. That one would definitely. I can't put that. We gotta beep out the joke I was about to put in there. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it helps. So we get 3 kids. Rad, which is not his real name, even though it is his real name, it's not his real name. Carlos, and then Alexa, who is our girl, who is here because she's a girl. Carlos, I think I can count on one hand the amount of lines he gets across 3 episodes. Carlos is here for reasons. Alexis, the Japanese, like, she has a character in Japan. In America, she is just a woman, because...
Girl.
Yeah.
Girl.
Japan gives her one quite good joke, which I'm sad. When the little minicon scans her Razor scooter, it obviously becomes a moped, not a scooter. In Japan, she comments on that, and they have like, well, maybe it can only become something with a motor, but the skateboard, like, it's, you know, in America, we dropped that, despite that joke being that joke translating perfectly well, that she's the only ones who didn't listen. But no. Yeah. Then we get our 2 Bulk and Skull villains, one of whom is overweight. So that means we must bring up his weight every 25 seconds.
Yeah. It was 2002. This was a post 9/11 world, baby. We were in a recession. Time to get skinny.
Even in 2002, like, sometimes like I tire of those shows that do that. I think of just, we have a fat guy, so it's all going to be fat jokes. But at least some of them could be vaguely witty. None of these some of these aren't even jokes. There's at least once where he's like, I'm fat. It's like, okay, that's not a joke.
It's an adjective, if anything.
Like,
yeah. It's the constant joke or gag or something is that he's always going to be motivated by hunger, right? He's always like, oh, but I'm hungry and I don't want to go this. And you've got something like candy in your pocket. It's like, what the hell? Like, what's going on here? Yeah, it's as far as human characters being, it's an archetypal, stereotypical time.
I think it's also hard, genuinely, I do believe this. I think when the majority of your cast is made up of cool, giant fighting robots, human characters are like, what? Why are you even here? It's kind of something that I genuinely appreciate about Beast Wars is that they didn't even bother trying to throw like a Neolithic like cave person into the mix. You know what I mean? The restraint that is shown because they don't do that, I think is like, I actually do appreciate that about Beast Wars a lot. Like the human characters are always the worst part of most Transformers media. Like nobody is going to say, oh, Spike Witwicky is my favorite Transformers character. No, it isn't. No, it is not. Don't lie to me, Samuel.
But now I want a caveman in Beast Wars. Like, his whole thing is he's slowly making the wheel over the course of the season.
Wait till we get to season 3. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. The characters are nothings here. It's the American ones especially funny because they cut off the one actual plot point of like, because at least in Japan, they kind of tease like, well, it's going to suck because Megatron is going to come for you, but we need you for the minicons. So there's at least some tension there. America just cut that off by having them going, no, we want to fight in this intergalactic war. It's not our problem. We're Americans, by the way. It's like, okay, so...
oil up there.
Yeah, we're gonna hollow out Megatron and insert a new leader.
They got oil in that Megatron,
It's like,
baby.
okay, you just immediately cut off, like, you joining the war willingly without threat has just cut off any, like, hundreds of stories that could be interesting. Cut off at the feet. Before we end, I do need to just bring up my favorite production thing for this. I think it's episode 3. They have a previously on at the start of it in the actual airing. You'll note something weird about that. The previously on didn't actually happen in that episode. It's all over new footage. So the previously on makes you feel like you're going mad because for some reason they didn't realize when they were dubbing it that no, there is no previously on in the Japanese version of this episode. It just starts, but they call it a previously on.
It was 2002. Nobody spoke Japanese.
But surely someone in the booth must have been like, wait, why are we dubbing a previously on over footage we haven't dubbed yet? Like, surely someone must have all you had to do was cut the previously on at the start of the sentence. I have cut more from these episodes. It's not hard.
That person in the production booth got like the Men in Black, like you don't know anything. You didn't see the previous episode. But yeah, so
Don't blame him.
what are your final thoughts?
I mean, it's not my favorite Transformers thing I've ever seen.
Is it better than Beast Wars?
No. Even the rudimentary 3D animation of Beast Wars is better than the not good enough for Digimon animation here. It's always interesting seeing the Japanese kind of take on Transformers, but this one ain't it.
These 3 episodes are a mess. It does kind of loop around to becoming hilarious of just how incompetent this is. But not funny in a ha-ha way, funny in a kind of depressing way. Because, yeah, there is zero care taken here, and you can really tell. Beast Wars kind of makes you forget that this is a show designed to sell toys. This just feels like, okay, you made the advert, then tried to link it together. It's not. I had to break this up into 3 episodes because I could not get from beginning to end in one sitting, which is, considering some of the shit I've sat through, that is pretty damning. The Japanese is slightly better, but even then, I wouldn't recommend this unless you really, really like tiny robots that stick to your skin.
Like, as we all know, or maybe you don't because I do keep it very secret, I do love Transformers. I acknowledge Armada and the Unicron trilogy are a very important part of this fandom history, but I will throw it out here. In terms of and I remember liking it as a kid, but going back to it, it is very hard to watch those first couple episodes. I think of the Unicron trilogy in the same way I think of Wheel of Time or the Amber Chronicles. It's kind of nerd homework. Like, you watch it or you read it just to say that you did, so that you can kind of hang out in the same circles with everybody who's like, ooh, the second book of the Amber Chronicles is my favorite book. No, it fucking isn't. It just is not. I don't care who you are. Wheel of Time is not your favorite sci-fi thing. It's just not. I don't know who you are, and somebody get in the comments and prove me wrong, but I don't think it is. But yeah, like it is a little bit of nerd homework. If you are a big Transformers fan like me, you will find something to like about it. The first couple episodes are rough, and the Starscream storyline doesn't pick up until later, but it is a very interesting piece of this history. The comics are a lot better. But that does mean that we can maybe put this in the same category as Boom Boom Sabotage and say...
I think it's better than Boom Boom Sabotage.
We're Boom Boom Sabotage still at the bottom of the tier list. Somebody out there make a tier list. But
Sam setting us up for a challenge here, and I don't think any of us are going to like where this goes.
We're not going to like where this goes. But that does mean we have pulled into our final destination. That is right. It is time for us to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again in joining us and talking about the shows that made us, us, and the shows that made you, you. We have been your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you next time. Bang. Na 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 na.